This final NFL predictions edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is offering you a chance to win $15 million in prizes with Best Ball Mania 4. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. We're also brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SGP. We're also brought to you by our College Football Bankroll Challenge, up to $3,000 up for grabs. Get all the details over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bankroll.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan. Real money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. What was the name of that bar? Howl at the Moon near our old place?
Yeah.
Sounded
Julian
like
Pianos.
sounded like a dog howling at the moon. DAWG, DA or DOG. I'm not sure which kind.
DOG. Here we are. Our final NFL season predictions, Ryan. Obviously, we have done 32 NFL team previews, 8 division previews. Nice little feisty NFC East division preview podcast.
Was it
we just
feisty?
dropped. I was chippy in a good way. It was like it was a joint practice where
Starters were getting some reps.
There were a couple guys getting out in the field, some ones exchanging blows, going mano a mano, calling out my boy Jalen Carter. I was bouncing back. Some Goddard versus Waller talk. It's feisty. It's that time of year, man. I'm just chomping at the bit. I cannot wait until we actually have some games to include in the handicap. It's crazy.
I will say this with the hamster wheel never stopping. And like I said, it wasn't that much different than last year, but for some reason it felt different this year. Maybe we did get started a little bit earlier, but yeah, I mean the off-season take machine.
No days off.
It does get here's where it gets redundant, right? We make sure to cover every market through the summer, and I think next year we'll do a better job to do more NFL, less other stuff because there's more markets than ever now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but here's where it got repetitive. It was like we did all this stuff, and then we had to come back to it and see all of these sick ass CLV we already have in our pocket. And now we got to talk about it again, but we still like the bet.
Yeah,
and it's like felt like a guy. You ever seen that video? It's like a big fat guy going down a slip and slide, and there's like 5 kids at the end, and you see it's going in slow motion, and he's absolutely going to take the kids out, but you never see him take the kids out. It's just this slow moving thing. That's what I feel like with our CLV. It's like these bets are going to come down. We're going to keep talking about it. So maybe the note for the podcast folks checking back in. Maybe check in over the summer.
Get to those team previews early because again, that's where some of these great markets are. Making bacon saying, I'm still going through all your team prediction episodes. Nice. So much great content, gentlemen. Keep up the good work.
We'd love the feedback too. Slide into the DMs. Let us know how you like the off-season shows this year.
Yeah, we're always breaking down the game film. Always trying to give you guys the best product. Speaking of a great product, DraftKings. I mean, Ryan just mentioned all the amazing markets they have. These division specials are ripe. They're just like a juicy piece of fruit ripe for the picking. Of course, college football is here. Week 1. Colby and I started off with an amazing heater with our college football picks. Week 1, 7-0 start. Can you believe it?
So good.
It's just that time of year. I mean, it's just awesome. So much football. Great college football slate. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Get in. Use that promo code SGP over on DraftKings. You know, DraftKings in the copy said tout as much as humanly possible, Ryan. They said if you go set, you know, they didn't even include that because normally the hosts the DraftKings, they don't go 7-0. So DraftKings may be canceling us. So they're giving out too many winners. Promo code SGP. Bet $5 on college football. Get $200 in bonus bets. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. I mean, the adjusted the win total slider that DraftKings has is awesome. There is just, if you haven't signed up yet and claim that, and also claiming bonus, if we want to talk like true sharps, Ryan, a massive plus EV opportunity is getting that bonus.
Well, I mean, free money.
Yeah, who wouldn't want free money? And speaking of free money, our college football bankroll challenge, it is on. It is game on. You have until the end of week 1 to get in there. Completely free. You start out with 10,000 credits. You know, get down on whatever college football you want each week. Build that bankroll. I think I already got a couple winners.
And I actually have just kind of, it was a thought exercise. I like sometimes with the kids, I like to associate like an acronym with something different so they remember. But when you are in there and you're getting that bonus, what we always like to recommend, you know, if you're going to get a bonus, let's put it to work the way Scott Reichel would. Yeah. So I like to think instead of SGP Sports Gambling Podcast or SGP Same Game Parlay, Scott gets paid. If you always apply that to your bonus.
Yes, Scott is great at taking the free bonus bets and putting some insane parlays together.
That's actually a good podcast idea.
Oh yeah, Scott gets paid.
Well, it's just a mailbag every week where Scott is you tell Scott about yourself and he crafts a personal parlay for you.
I love that. That's an awesome idea. Hey,
I like the smell of lumber.
Sounds like he's making a candle.
We got a first period puck line for you, sir.
Bankroll challenge, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bankroll. $1,000 for first, $500 for second, but it doubles if you are a Patreon for our football season. And the Patreon support has been awesome. You guys are doing your part to take down corporate gambling, one winner at a time. Ryan, let's take down corporate gambling. Feel really good about all the NFL futures we locked in. We're going to walk through our bracket, aka like the final season predictions, and then give out our 5 favorite, our locks of the win totals.
Yeah, I mean,
and the final awards bet as well.
Yeah. I mean, let's. I was about to make a napalm joke, and I decided. You tell people one person at a time, but in reality, with the help that they've given us allows us to use napalm.
Oh yeah, you guys are loading
earmuffs,
up our
DraftKings.
You guys are loading up our flamethrowers, not only to give great content, but put in the time, get these things going.
All right, so you nailed it mostly. We are going to do the win total locks first, because that's what the screen says we're going to do. And the YouTube people, the chat would be very upset if we have our own rundown. I didn't even look at it. I know. That was excellent. All right. So win total locks. I figured, look, we gave out 32 win totals this year, obviously, because there's 32 teams. Yeah. Any leans from you or me this year? No. Not only that, something new to this season, we actually held ourselves accountable, unlike every other show ever. No, I've never seen another show do this. Actually,
I just listened to another show and they were doing their win totals podcast. I enjoy it. I listened to it, but there was a not no ball moment by one of the hosts.
Oh no!
When they say, "Yeah, you got to make sure all the wins add up to what 252."
Oh no!
And then I go, "Am I? I'm not crazy.
No,
I know ball. It's 272. You can't call yourselves a sports gambler show without knowing the exact number of games played in the NFL season. That's rank amateur bullshit.
How do you tell me you just got into sports gambling without telling me? You
What's
just got
your journey into sports gambling?
Look, so what we did was in the team previews, we freestyled it because that's what we do. We then reviewed during the division previews and we balanced out the wins. So we have we obviously adjusted a couple teams, but our final, before we give out these win total locks, our final predictions for all 32 teams, win loss predictions add up to, for you, Sean, 272 and 272. For me, 272 and 272. Find me another podcast or show that held themselves accountable in this way. and we'll find a way to get you hooked up because there's not one out there.
All the bets we made in the preseason are on the sheet there.
Oh.
Obviously, you can go back, listen to the podcast, the videos on YouTube. Ryan, Wax to Face in the YouTube chat says I have no idea what that means. Need an insane 8-leg plus 50,000 odds division winner parlay. Ryan, we of course,
what's that, 5,000 to 1?
we of course pioneered crazy division parlays where we broke the bank. Metaphorically, we didn't win the bet, but where we got the what was it you tweeted out? It was a Houston Texans Pittsburgh Steelers division winner parlay. We threw $1,000 on it
this whole
to win 340.
No, it was 400. It was $1,000 to win $400,000. John, it was 40 to 1.
I mean, I'll be honest. In that first half, when the Texans are dominating, I'm thinking about the speedboat I'm going to be getting.
We were. I will say it was probably a moment that we would both like to have back. We were both mentally celebrating hitting a $400,000 parlay halfway into the Texans, kind of looking good against a team in the Colts that can't fucking find their ass.
Ended up tying,
on
and we really had a come to Jesus moment. We're like,
and I was,
if they didn't win that game, we're fucked.
That was the.
But I think we need. Do we save it for the NFL? Maybe we save it when we're out in Vegas. But I think we do need another show division parlay that we're both going to get down on, Ryan. So maybe save it for the week 1 picks podcast.
We're gonna have, maybe as we're talking through our final predictions, we can come to some consensus.
Okay.
That's a good way to talk it out.
The one long shot I like for the division stuff is the Rams. Obviously, Cooper Kupp re-aggravating his hamstring, not great for that. But I think the price will probably be a little juicier.
And just to reiterate, like I think the value of us breaking down all these off-season markets is that we actually talk through pretty much every person. Yeah. So I think everyone should have a team that they're close to that they can. Hey guys, Friday night, gonna bring some beer, pizza. We're just gonna talk about bets. We're gonna talk through all these bets. We're gonna think about things this year. I mean, probably good for week 1 too. Like remind everyone not to do the same dumb shit you did last year. Like,
yes,
okay, you really.
I've tried to do that with the Houston Texans.
You really like the team, and they're getting their ass kicked halfway through. Not a great time to buy them at a discount. Definitely don't buy them at a discount. I would say week 1's all about leaning into your off-season takes. What's the point of having a take for 6 months if you're not going to lean in? I'd say I am pissed about the line movement with the Steelers and the Falcons because the NFL pick show I won't be able to get 3 on both sides. But other than that, fine. Let's talk win total lock, Sean.
Yeah, well, obviously Pittsburgh Steelers is one of them. Again, broken record.
Did
with
we
Tomlin.
double up here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we both have the Steelers over 8.5 wins. Both super high on them. I mean, you've seen it. Kenny Pickett making a jump. They still have TJ Watt. What legit game record. Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons. No. This is just setting up for it. And they're a good organization, right? Like they just don't really bottom out. And this seems like a good opportunity. I understand the division's competitive, but super high on this Steelers team.
Yeah, it's got a little juicier as the offseason gone on, but I agree. It's one of the two that we completely agreed on. The second one is Carolina. And, those who have listened to all the offseason stuff will hear me talk about my late night bets and my midsummer bets and the bets I make when I'm in humid climates. But one of the first bets I made on a completely level head, and I actually made it in Las Vegas, it was immediate fade of the Carolina Panthers. And I'll even give you my third lock, which is the Colts, both rookie quarterbacks. Obviously the Texans are a different animal. We like that offensive system Bobby Slowick's bringing in, but yeah, the Colts and the Panthers were insta fades for me. So I know you agree with Carolina. I mean, Frank Reich, that you can't. It's best offensive weapon, get part of the deal. Not this year is how I would articulate.
No, I mean I think
Panthers and the Colts.
I think the fact that I was listing Adam Thielen as an interesting pick and could lead the Panthers offense.
Do you regret that?
No. I'm saying the fact that I think that's a reality shows you how bad I think this Panthers offense could be. I mean, Bryce Young doesn't look necessarily like a day one dominant guy. I think his size certainly is an issue.
He's definitely getting hurt, right?
He's a tiny man. The whole Frank Reich thing, and again, they're in a, I just think it's going to be a lot. 7.5 is a lot for a quarterback drafted a number 1 overall. I mean, unless he's Andrew Luck, we just haven't seen it because again, if you're drafting the number 1 quarterback, number 1 overall, it means your team sucks. And I don't think that's getting factored in enough. And Steve Wilkes had some momentum going with that team. All the momentum that he had has been pulled out of this team.
People who follow the NFL who don't root for the Panthers would be hard pressed to tell you who the Panthers third string starting 3 wide receivers. I think this is just a depleted offensive team. This is the narrative off season. Ready? If Bryce Young could only have some weapons around him, they could really take a step forward. Really, the Panthers really need to get that dominant weapon on the outside for Bryce Young. It's just going to be these narratives about how he has no one around him. So smash the under.
Yeah.
All right. So I started to talk about the Colts. Smash. Obviously, the Jonathan Taylor news, whatever's going on there, that's not positive. The GM saying it has no impact on Anthony Richardson's development. That's obviously bullshit.
And
Anthony
their
Richardson
offensive line isn't as good as it was historically. So, I think I do like Anthony Richardson fantasy because the running stuff is legit and the rushing touchdowns, and I like it even more with Jonathan Taylor at least out the first 4 games. You think Evan Hull is going to steal carries from Anthony Richardson? Like, what are we talking about?
Came with a nugget here. So if Anthony Richardson wins 7 games this year, that will be more than Justin Fields won in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah, great point. And anytime
Justin
you have
Fields,
a chance,
better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. I'll say it right now.
You have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. Like, what else do you really need to say? It's just going to be an uphill battle for that team. So Ryan, we have full agreement on Pittsburgh and Carolina, and I also like Indy. It didn't make its way into my locks. A team that I am high on, or at least relative to market. Give me the Green Bay Packers over 7.5 wins. I think they're a live dog to win the division. I think overall Matt LaFleur is a pretty good coach. To me, the big question mark was Jordan Love, but he looks
still a question
mark. And again, if this goes wrong, I think it is because of Jordan Love. I like some of the pieces they have around Jordan Love. I think they have, I think their defense underrated. It's disappointed at times. I think they're in a division where they can compete, right? And you walk through their schedule as we did on the team preview. I think they've shown some nice stuff in the preseason. It's not like just scheming guys wide open, although they have. Rookie tight end Luke Musgrave. I can't shut the fuck up about that guy. Green Bay getting to 8 and 9 is very, very doable in my mind. So yeah, I'm high on the Pack.
As am I. I do think, I was on a show this morning and I got asked if the Green Bay Chicago dominance is going to shift now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know. The Bears roster not very good. Packers roster looks pretty good. I don't mind so many win totals in that 6.5, 7.5 range. I think a lot of picks we agree on here, honestly. So you've given out 3.
Yes,
I've given out 3. My 4th. Surprised this wasn't on your list, but give me the San Francisco 49ers under 10.5.
No, I mean it was tough getting it down to the locks, and I saw you already had it in your sheet, so I figured we'd get to it. But yeah, I'm with you 100%.
I'm surprised that I hadn't seen you troll friend of the program Katie Mox in the text thread yet about Nick Bosa, but is he getting signed? What's going on now?
Oh no,
now the Niners are rushing to get it done. Not worried. I don't know. It hasn't been done yet. What's happening here?
I mean, the 49ers right now, their GM would fuck up a wet dream, as my high school football coach used to say.
That's why we call him the welcome mat.
Nick Bosa, that's the easiest deal to get done. Hey, you're the best defensive player, so we'll just pay you the most out of all defensive players.
We'll reset the market.
That's a very easy deal to get done. Yeah. Now, unloading Trey Lance for a 4th round pick. Actually, I think at that point that was a decent, considering how bad you fucked that up.
It's the whole you wait till after 6 p.m. to call Jerry because he might be on his meds.
I mean, it's like if you drove your Ferrari into a street pole and then you got a decent price for the rear view mirror you sold on eBay. It's hard to really congratulate you. But yeah, I think you got above market value for the Trey Lance trade, but still willfully driving a brand new Ferrari into a street pole. I'm not going to give you that much credit. I'm with you. I think the defense is still going to be good. They have Christian McCaffrey. As much as I want to be completely out on them, they have a good roster. The Purdy arm soreness I think we haven't even talked that much. Like there's
Wait, his arms are already sore?
oh yeah, he's been dealing.
I predicted that was going to be the story after week 1. I'm sorry. My bad. Foreshadowed too quickly. Look, we nailed it, right? And the reason I invested in Sam Darnold to win some stuff is the idea that
There's
this is a
just
great
been
team.
some like they've been load managing the number of his throws in training camp.
yeah,
To me, that's like red flag.
There's just bad vibes on this team.
Why
Right now.
49ers quarterback is taking fewer reps at practice this week? This was yesterday. I mean, dude, he was the last pick of the draft, and you got to get him ready. And he's coming off a crazy injury. It's a crazy injury for a reason. I mean, we had early thoughts that he might miss this entire season. So I guess in one sense, hats off to him. But in another sense, like, is that something you can really rely on? At some point, you need the quarterback to be productive and reliable.
Look, they're probably a 10-win team, but it's hard to. It seems like what the coaches are saying.
They're calling it deloading.
Everything here is
You have
like
to know when to come.
Sorry, I'm just the idea of deloading. I got a different visual.
well, and he's an Iowa guy. Are we sure they're not bracing for a suspension coming? Maybe some $7.80 parlays put in. Yeah, I think just just what Shanahan was saying, right? Like read between the lines. What did he say about how happy he was about seeing the Eagles at the end of the year, not the beginning of the year? This team's going to start slow. And I actually think if you like their over in the win total market, you wait. Cause could the Niners end up starting like 3-4 or something weird like that and then going on a little bit of a run again? Sure. So maybe you buy in a little bit later, but give me the under 10.5 wins. I do not see them as a 11-12 win team.
NC Street News is chirping at me saying Eagles lost 7 starters on defense and 2 coordinators, yet somehow they think they'll be better. And then I corrected him saying we didn't lose 7 starters on defense. He said, my bad, 5 starters from the defense. And then he's mad at me for not explaining myself better in the chat. I'm hosting the show, NC Street News.
Come on.
I know who the Eagles lost. Yes, they lost.
Jesus. You're doing
They
it
lost
again.
Javon Hargrave.
Sean, the lion doesn't concern himself with the sheep.
You're right. He sounds like a
He's a sheep.
oh, and he just revealed himself as a Cowboys fan.
Oh my God. Yeah, they're coming hard this year. Oh wait, don't
They always
like that.
they always feel they always are the chirpiest in the preseason. I forget the annual tradition of Cowboys heads like like prairie dogs putting their head up.
They do like our show though. That's the funniest part.
No, there's some they're the good ones.
Well, I think they secret like.
Well, there's a lot of self-hating Cowboys fans who don't like Jerry Jones, who are out on deck.
We're projecting for them.
Yeah, they're waiting for Jerry to die, them to get a higher level quarterback, and then they'll be really all.
They're waiting for Trey Lance to develop. The one other thing I'll say, there really hasn't been a ton of talk about Bobby Slowick leaving this staff.
Oh, okay.
No, that's the joke. D'Amico Ryans. I mean, is he chopped liver?
Yeah.
We're just gonna have someone else, Steve Wilkes, which by the way we did write down. We like Steve Wilkes, leader of men. But D'Amico Ryans got the job in Houston for a reason. So maybe Steve. I do like Steve Wilkes, so it's kind of hard to make this argument. But he at least vacated something. All right, what's your fourth one?
I've given out
3.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Green Bay, and Carolina.
Save the best for last.
Oh wait, no, I didn't give out Tennessee.
No,
Sorry.
you didn't give out Tennessee.
Oh my God,
you ruined the best. Now it's
Okay.
now it can't be last.
No, it can be because I'll give out Detroit under 9.5 wins. They're the Detroit Lions. I think that is a great place to start. I am not sold on them completely fixing their defense. I know they believe they upgraded their defense. I don't see it yet. I think the NFC North is gonna kind of be a weird division that'll be competitive, but I think the Lions are going to get boxed out. I don't think they fixed their defense. I think Jared Goff is set to turn the ball over a bunch of times. I think he's kind of interesting in fantasy because again, I think they're going to be playing from behind and they're in a dome. So I think he's interesting as like a dark horse fantasy guy. Maybe in a managed league, you're picking him up as like a 10th, bottom of the bottom QB1, I think. But really what I'm feel confident on is that this is not a dominant defense. This isn't a division winning defense. And so for that, I have to be out on the Detroit Lions. I just don't think you can have that bad of a start to the season, flip the switch and be completely fixed. Yeah. They beat that Green Bay team, but I don't think that's I just don't, man. I don't see.
It was 2 seasons.
It's easy to get those wins when you have nothing to lose, and that's where the Lions were. I don't believe the Lions get it done with the expectations that are being put on the Lions.
Well, I mean that's the tough part of being the no one believes in us coach, because unless you're Kirby Smart and you can somehow convince your back-to-back national championship team that no one believes in you, it eventually it stops having the same kind of bang. And I think really you just got to zoom in, look at how the Lions were. The Lions had a great stretch and a bad stretch. So
yes.
To think they're all of a sudden going to be this consistent team that's going to get it done at the end of games,
and it's
every
looking
week.
at the franchise level.
And yeah, I mean, all right, cool. If we're wrong about Detroit, I'll say I'm sorry and move on. But yeah, I mean, Jared, come on. You're also betting on Jared Goff ascension too. I don't think that happens.
Yes.
All right, number 5. Obviously, I'm going to come in here with a Falcons take. Give me the Falcons over 8.5 wins. Arthur Smith again, reminding everyone, when you turn on the TV and you see that mustache, don't be alarmed. But he did warn everyone; it's not for everyone.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Lifestyle choice, and so is their ability to run the ball. Obviously, I think maybe my favorite bet of the offseason. I have been told by Cousin Mush the price has come down to 50-1. We're moving markets because Tyler Algier is still in the building. Bijan obviously fun. We got alphas all over the place. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Cordero Patterson, a weapon. Yeah, over 8.5 wins, Sean.
This opened at 7.5, right?
You just trying to throw some shade on my pick?
No. I'm saying I'm sure
you take that horrible number.
You've been on the over. I was actually pointing out. I'm sure you gave out the CLV.
Even better. Yeah. Well, I don't like to do that because we're living in the present, and no one can go back in time and bet that 7.5, Sean. But I will say, was anyone else on the Falcons before me? I started last offseason.
We did do the way too early NFL win totals. I don't share your Falcons love. Fading the Falcons, I didn't feel strong enough to add it into my locks. For me, the lock of all locks is the Tennessee Titans over 7.5 wins. I just think this team is a veteran team, a win now team in a division where Mike Vrabel is playing 4 games against rookie head coaches and rookie quarterbacks. I think they can hang with Jacksonville. We've walked through their schedule in the team preview. I think it's very winnable. I think they have a pretty high ceiling if things break right. And I don't think it's priced into the market for their, them to win the AFC, them to win the division. I think them to be the number 1 seed. Tajay Spears, we've seen, they have depth behind Derrick Henry, bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. That's a win now move. And that defense. The defense is always coached up well by Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel, with the exception of last year where he's 7-10, every other year he's gone over the 7.5 wins. And last year was truly everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. You forget he almost beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville with Josh Dobbs, a noted astronaut. Like they had.
No, he's not yet an astronaut, but soon he will be in space at some point. Right. He's that smart.
Brian, how bad did Malik Willis look last year?
Pretty bad.
And yet in Kansas City, they took the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime with Malik Willis. Yep. I just think some of those games are going to break right for them this year. And even Malik Willis looks notably improved. If Tannehill does have to miss a couple games, I don't think it's quite the disaster it was last year. So there's just a lot of scenarios where this Titans team gets to 8 wins. Give me the over 7.5.
Disagree. I think Tannehill gets hurt. It's a disaster, but I agree. I like the Titans.
I would say not as bad as last year.
Hopefully. Yep. Malik Willis apparently took big steps, and I looked back.
I mean, he beat out Ryan. Even again, I'm breaking down preseason training camp film.
Obviously.
I'm following the beat reporters, but even if you didn't, just the fact that they drafted Will Levis and he beat out Will Levis, I think is a good sign. Because there was talk when they drafted Will Levis, the rumors were that they were going to cut Malik Willis. Right?
It's weird. The Kentucky stands out there really went quiet. They came at me with my.
There's no mayo being sold in.
They didn't like
Tennessee Stadium.
They didn't like my takes, and here we are.
Ryan, I think we should. You gave out your 5, correct?
Correct.
I think we're going to add a bonus 6 to the Cowboy fan in the chat. And that's under 9.5 on the Dallas Cowboys. Lock it up. Although they are a decent.
Why are you worried? They're just like honestly, they have these big muscle cars. Maybe it's a nice truck with some chrome all over.
Truck nuts.
And for some reason, they installed a rear view mirror larger than their windshield. These guys are just looking backwards.
Break out the VCR, guys. Gonna watch some playoff highlights from the Cowboys.
Look, I deal in actual reality in this realm, and when I see first coach to be fired, market
smoking my weed.
Mike McCarthy's at the top. Again, and when every time, what do we ask every Cowboys fan? How you feeling about Dak? How many say I'm stoked? This is their year. Not many. So when you guys figure out that internal dilemma, we can have a real conversation. Until then, you guys are gonna suck this year. Starts week 1, bitches. Oh my god! And you know what? Jalen Hyatt wearing 13, so y'all might have some memories of a great moment that happened once within 13. This filthy Cowboys. All right, so we're good. So 6 lock, Cowboys under.
Yep, add that on.
I mean, look, it's not that we hate the Cowboys. It's just so easy to bet against them. They're lovable losers.
They are lovable losers. Hey, have you signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet? What are you waiting for? Underdog Fantasy, so fun. Ryan just alerted me. They have their, they obviously have Best Ball Mania 4, $15 million up for grabs, $3 million to first place. They also have the weekly winners format, which I think is a really cool format. Essentially, you draft your best ball team, and then they give out prizes every single week. So it's kind of best ball, kind of DFS. So it's a really cool idea. And Ryan pointed out to me, there's going to be a massive overlay. I think it's only like 78% filled.
We're sitting on 78% filled, which there's no, I mean, we're down to what?
Yeah.
It's not gonna, less than a week.
The weekly winners is not going to fill. There's going to be a massive overlay. So perfect time to get in there. And then adding to your plus EV, the 100% deposit bonus up to $100, promo code SGPN, and the pick'em is super fun, higher, lower, very. I mean, there's just such a good. There's just so much. They even have. Again, I keep mentioning it, but Jalen Hurts over a half rushing touchdowns week 1 against the New England Patriots, higher all day on that. Even if you're a Jalen Hurts hater, he is their goal line back. They do get him some rushing touchdowns. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Perfect transition to my MVP bet. Jalen Hurts 11-1. You can get that over on DraftKings, code SGP. Or if you're in Vegas, I put it in for my buddy, the co-host of the Dire Eagles podcast. Circa was hanging it at 14-1, which I obviously get that extra plus 300. Kramer, I'm assuming you're going to be making a homer play as well here.
No apologies this year. Last time I went full homer was before the podcast was a show, I believe. Daniel Jones, aka Dan Jones, aka Danny Dimes, aka Vanilla Vic, aka DJ, because that's what his teammates call him. 75-1 out of the Circa. I smashed a ridiculous amount of money on it while we were out there. Let's go. I mean, again, Sean, ask me how many quarterbacks in the NFL had more carries inside the 5, the 10, 2. I didn't wait for you to ask me, but only 2. A double-digit rushing touchdowns is part of the formula. And
but then doesn't the fact that Jalen Hurts did that last year and didn't get the MVP, doesn't that hurt your case there?
Do you want? No, I don't. I think again, I don't think it matters. I think you're talking about a guy that the media would love to explode on. He was mistreated by the previous regimes. He got his money. He's playing with confidence.
The New York media sucking Daniel Jones off is definitely part of it. And
imagine he does it in a year where our hero is watching from the other locker room.
Or I'll tell you this: I certainly like it better than Trey Lance 50-1. MVP.
Is he still at 50-1?
Which people were giving out.
Do you think his odds should go down on the Cowboys? I mean, it's a clearer path to starting.
He probably has a better shot.
In the chat, we should. And by the way, I meant to bring this up earlier, but Earl James had just an excellent line about the Cowboys offensive line. Sean, I'm going to throw up on the screen.
Ryan, breaking news.
Hold on, we got it. Don't brush over this. I mean, this just made me get a good chuckle. Older than the mayo in his fridge. Concerning about the mayo in your fridge and the age of the Cowboys offensive line.
Yes. Or was
mayo something you put that's old?
I don't think you want mayo getting old.
It's just egg and.
Yeah, I think at some point it goes
gets
bad.
Okay.
So yeah, Ryan, breaking news: Trey Lance still listed at 50-1.
Really?
Compared to Brock Purdy, also listed 50-1. Derek Carr 50-1. DraftKings has Daniel Jones 50-1. Kirk Cousins.
At least he's the same at DraftKings.
50-1. Kenny Pickett 50-1. What are we doing here? I mean, these guys. Jordan Love is 60-1. They're the starting quarterback.
I'd like to hear.
I don't know.
I'd like to hear what the cancel police have to say about that.
Oh man, so funny.
All right, rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year,
offensive.
So when we did this the first time, I was with you. I had let me see, or actually, I don't know.
No, you weren't with me.
No, I was leaning Bryce Young there, or I gave out Bryce Young. I do think of the quarterbacks, CJ Stroud. I'm with you, Ryan. So you're on CJ Stroud. Right?
CJ Stroud. I've been on him all year. His odds have kind of fluctuated. I think the low point was maybe 7-1. The high point maybe 10-50. It settled in around 950. Yeah, I mean, it's just you're putting a guy into a system where the quarterback is supported nicely and should provide him a good path to kind of put up counting stats. And who knows if the defense is right and DeMeco Ryans is a dog, maybe this team wins some games and with a weakish schedule. So yeah, I think to me the path for him to be the guy who's going to produce right away made sense. And so especially when this was purely like Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud. I'm picking one. It's CJ Stroud. Clearly, the fact that his odds are the longest. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Of the quarterbacks, I would probably go Stroud there, just because I think but maybe Richardson gets there with the running stuff. Bryce Young, I'm kind of
not if they win 2 games. Like it's not fantasy. He's got to win some games.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm gonna just throw a dart here, falling for the preseason hype. But
yes.
I mean, we saw it last year where Brock Purdy came in late, went on a bit of a run, was in the mix for offensive rookie of the year, didn't play enough games. But again, Jimmy G, it's been a while since he played an entire season. Aiden O'Connell throwing darts there at 75-1. Again, a little bit of a long shot. There was nothing else as far as current price that I really liked. Yeah. So yeah, Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, I think with some of these, it's okay to not get crazy. Because I don't know, I went through this exercise mostly to pick winners, but I think Jimmy G not playing games this year. I like the way that Aiden O'Connell looks on and off the field.
No,
I mean, he's got an interesting.
I put a big fade on Raiders in general, so maybe I'm hedging my bet here a little bit because he did look. Oh no, he did look decent. So
first you're taking even money, now you're hedging on a Raiders fade. Rookie of the year on the defensive side. Let's keep it in Houston. Will Anderson. He was the best pass rusher in college. The people that are like, there's other, you got to get the length, you got to get the measurables. Why would he fall? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they traded up to go get him. That's how much DeMeco Ryans wanted him, because he looks like he's going to be a dog. This is a counting stat award. It's rarely going to cornerbacks unless you are absolutely spectacular like Sauce. I think also playing in New York probably helped Sauce. So yeah, Will Anderson to me is going to pop. And I think when this team surprises some people, a little, what would they call it? A twofer at the award ceremony. I mean, sure, it's not a playoffs, but getting 2 awards is probably huge for the Houston Texans as a franchise.
Yeah, I mean the Jets pulled that off last year. For me, Ryan, I gave out Joey Porter Jr. at 25-1. He's still 25-1. I still like that for the Steelers. Cornerback there. I think he could create some turnovers because there's other guys around him. Your Minkah Fitzpatrick's, even your Patrick Petersons, that maybe they're gonna try the rookie and he racks up a couple some interceptions. Pittsburgh pretty good pass rush, so I like that case for him. But I'm gonna make a late swap here and add on Nolan Smith. I know I've been hyping up Jalen Carter, and I think Jalen Carter has a good season. I just think from the defensive tackle position, it's tough to get the recognition, get the sacks. Again, he's only 7-1. I'm gonna take a shot here on Nolan Smith at 22-1. He has looked really good coming off the edge, and what really sold me on this was that the Eagles agreed to let Derek Barnett pursue a trade. So the fact that the Eagles are letting Derek Barnett pursue a trade, that means they've seen a lot of good stuff out of Nolan Smith and that he is going to see a lot of playing time. They basically said, hey, Derek Barnett, if you want to try and get a trade to a place where you're going to get more playing time, go for it.
Wow.
And that
no
means
loyalty.
what? No, that's actually being very loyal to your guy, giving him a
Hey, you get the fuck out of here.
No,
Get the fuck out of here. We got this young dog who
What
hasn't
are you
earned his
talking
stripes
about?
yet.
He asked for the trade and they obliged because they know what they got in Nolan Smith coming off the edge. Give me Nolan Smith, defensive rookie of the year, 22-1.
All these young dogs without stripes, no O's in their name.
How would they have stripes? They're rookies.
Exactly. Just pushing vets to the side. I don't like any of this. Culture is dying in Philly. Player of the year. I think I flirted with the idea of Garrett Wilson and just kind of alphaing in New York.
Offensive player of the year.
Sorry, offensive player of the year. But I decided to stick with the guy I've been giving out all off season because his odds are still they were as high as 60-1, currently 50-1. Austin Eckler, offensive player of the year. He's a fantasy analyst. He understands what it would mean to score all those touchdowns. He's predicted, I believe, 25 plus touchdowns. If he scores 25 plus touchdowns, it's hard to not see him in the conversation with those alpha receivers. Lately, this has been an award that has not been going to quarterbacks, but been going to like the top skill position guy. And so I think if it comes down to a counting competition at the touchdown stat category, well, I don't understand why Austin Eckler is down here at 50-1. So
yeah, no,
kind of an odds bet, but also could I see Austin Eckler winning this? I mean, he was the host of the Zoom call for the running backs as well. So real figurehead.
What better way to
get the message out? Yeah. You could get up on stage and just kind of give a 2-minute speech about the running back.
Yeah, Ryan, to your point, last time offensive player of the year won was Patrick Mahomes in 2018. After that, it was Michael Thomas, Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. It kind of seems to be, especially 3 out of the last 4 years, that wide receiver who goes off and has that amazing year, and then their quarterback, although a lot of times ends up getting the MVP or at least in the mix. Actually, no, sorry, I was looking at different years there. But yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Michael Thomas. I think AJ Brown, what we saw out of him last year, is certainly capable of having that kind of insane bonkers year. I think the argument against it is he's also competing with Devonta Smith, who would be a number 1 quarterback on a lot of teams.
Receiver.
I think the counter to that was like, look at his numbers last year. Now you give another year in the offense, another year with Jalen Hurts, who continues to get better as a passer, and you look at the fourth quarter numbers weren't that great for AJ Brown, the Devonta Smith, or Jalen Hurts because they weren't throwing that ball that much. So in a world where maybe they have to throw a little bit more this year, where the games are a little bit more competitive, they need more out of the passing game. I think he could really kind of take it up another notch and get those numbers. And also, it's not a award that usually goes to the same guy back to back years. I mean, even looking at you'd have to go back to 2000, 2001. Marshall Faulk won it back to back years. So maybe if we take Justin Jefferson out of that, there's not a lot of guys up there in that elite echelon of receivers. 50-1 feels like a pretty good price for AJ Brown, offensive player.
Not a bad price at all. Breaking news, Sean. Apparently we're getting close. Nick Bosa almost going to sign a deal. $4 million, according to our insider Nick Fortune, $4 million away from signing that deal. Perfect time to talk about defensive player of the year. Again, I filled this card out with the intention of saying this is who's going to win. And boy, TJ Watt at 9-1. I know I'm getting chalky here with this pick, but he stays healthy.
Oh yeah.
And this Steelers team does what we think they're going to do. Love this price at 9-1. I mean, that's what are we talking here? Like 32-point dog? Nah, maybe a little bit less than that. Maybe a 24-point dog. 9-1. TJ Watt, defensive player of the year. Let's go.
Yes, I like that as well.
It's crazy to go back and look at when the Watt brothers were drafted. Like, how did they fuck that up twice?
Yeah, eye test. Like, what else are you watching? Aaron Donald for me, 25-1. The narrative is there. It's the vet has one last really good year in the tank. I mean, again, I know he's getting older, but have you watched videos of Aaron Donald with his shirt off? Like, the guy is insanely ripped, and also too like.
Relax, Sean. Jesus.
Defensive player of the year, they don't necessarily have to have a ton of wins to get there. They'll make exceptions for elite seasons, and Aaron Donald putting up some insane numbers, I think certainly in the realm of possibility. And I love that price.
Yeah,
at 25-1.
And already having won it, like in this is the only award where it helps you win it again. And Donald's won it a bunch, so you might as well just go ahead with your comeback player of the year. Since
comeback player of the year. You could throw away money by betting on other things, or you could load up on DeMar Hamlin at -285 and just win the surest of sure things. The guy died on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He came back from death.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to keep playing football for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills play the Bengals this season. Can you imagine the hype and celebration when DeMar Hamlin comes out of that tunnel? It's going to be electric. They may as well give him the player of the year, comeback player of the year, the award right then.
Basic. Who votes on this?
The media.
You think the media can relate more to a guy who had his heart stop and then came back to life on the field, or a guy who had cancer? John Mechie, 28-1, Sean. Much more relatable comeback story. In fact, a lot of the media members probably can relate directly. Maybe a family member, maybe a friend has recovered from cancer. So didn't expect to wake up today and see Sean stacking the money green. Anti-cancer survivors, but John
I'm
Mechie,
pro-cancer survivor. 2-0 against cancer.
Sounds like you're going with the guy who died on the field, not the cancer survivor.
Yeah, because that's the guy who's going to win.
Again, you had to pick one. Gun was to your head, proverbially. John Mechie the third, 28-1. Again, now if you're counting at home, that is 3 awards for the. They are the belle of the ball at the awards ceremony tonight.
Are you going to give him Coach of the Year, Ryan?
Yes, I am. Wow, God. What a sweep by no defensive player of the year, no MVP, no offensive player of the year. But boy, what a night for the Houston Texans. Still not in the playoffs, but
week one's gonna be tough, Ryan. Week one's gonna be tough.
Look, if things go well, D'Amico Ryan's 25-1. Come on, it's a narrative thing. It's a improvement thing. There's a lot of reasons as to why the bar is lower here with D'Amico Ryans. The most difficult part will be getting those wins, I think. But you like that there? But if I'm parlaying,
right, if they can get over the getting the wins.
If I'm parlaying all these things together, and I think CJ Stroud's going to work in that easy to operate offense, and they have some weapons. You like Dameon Pierce, right? I like John Mechie. I love Robert Woods. We like Nico Collins. We're getting excited. Quentin Tarantino is their tight end. Remember, he's going to be fun to bet on first touchdowns, or maybe it's Guantanamo Bay. I forget one of Colby's hilarious nicknames. But yeah, D'Amico Ryan's 25-1. It's a fun one. I also like yours, but I didn't want to copy.
Mike Vrabel, 35-1 Coach of the Year. Again, they were 7-10 last year. If they can get to 11 wins, 12 wins, get into the playoffs, make a little bit of a run. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's because of, maybe it's because of Tannehill having an MVP season. More likely, if they get in and increase their win total, most improved win market, which I also like them in there. I think it's a combination of like Tannehill playing decent, Derrick Henry having a pretty good year, DeAndre Hopkins having a pretty good year, the defense
alpha.
So I think they would end up splitting the credit, and then thereby it would go to Mike Vrabel, 35-1, who I think is a very good coach, well respected in the media, well respected in NFL circles. So I think that's going to be a nice slate for them.
It's the whole he once said he would cut off his dick for a Super Bowl.
I do feel like we're the only ones who keep bringing that up.
Really?
Right? I don't know if the mainstream media
they're not
keeps
talking about it. I mean, it's in my frontal lobe
removing
at all
his
times.
Manhood.
It's the ultimate coaching moment. There's not a coach in the NFL that has usurped him in terms of his dedication to his craft.
No, certainly not.
All right, well done, Sean. In fact, so well done. We have a little summary here. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness, look at all those picks.
Yeah, the sheet was made before I swapped Nolan. Smith
oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Late swap. Sean realized he wasn't being a big enough homer. My favorite pick on the board.
Yes.
All those Houston awards. I love it. It's just so much fun. All right.
You should see if they can let you parlay those, right?
Oh wow. A full Houston Texans all the way to the finish line. All right. Moving along. Let's just talk through the playoffs, right?
Sure.
We gave out the win losses. Like we said, we were accountable. Sean, your final, we'll walk around the divisions.
Okay.
AFC East. of course, who can forget? You have the Jets winning the division.
Yep.
You have the Dolphins entering as a wild card, the 6 seed. The Jets will be the 3 seed. You then, yeah, this will be the best way to do this. I'll just go down the seeds actually. 1 seed for you, the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the North, which I love it. I fucking love it. You also have the Bengals coming out of the North as the 5 seed. The 2 seed Tennessee Titans, very high on them, 12-5. Sean, that is I can't imagine too many people out in the wild are predicting that. Only division maker from their division, no surprise there. You then the 3 seed New York Jets, as I said, winning the East, and then the Dolphins, who they would play in the first round as the 6 seed. This is it's already getting spicy. Well, the best part is Sean did no thought about his spicy matchups in the playoffs. So it's very much organic. And then the 4 seed Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Holy spice. So a lot of spice there. And then the last team in, Los Angeles Chargers from the West Division, higher than some on the Chargers. They're going to be taking on the Titans in the first round. Sean, do you care to comment on anything? Any teams? The Bills not in your list.
No, Bills lose a tiebreaker to the Dolphins. Just missed the playoffs. Sorry, Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, I think on VSiN I gave out Chiefs Bengals as my
late swap.
Well, yeah, because the machinations just couldn't work out with the seeding.
All right,
but yeah, I mean, keep going, Ron.
So Dolphins, no surprise here. Dolphins upset the Jets in the first round. I really wanted to have the Jets having a good season and a devastating end in the playoffs. That's really a narrative I want to lean into. It's what the Jets would do in real life, so it's very good. So the Dolphins will advance to take on the Steelers in the second round, who were the 1 seed. Bengals upset the Chiefs. What are you doing here? Very diabolical. Joe Burr into the second round. Well, they'll be taking on the Titans, who discard the Chargers, who can't stop the run. I would imagine Derrick Henry has a big game there. Titans, Bengals upset the Titans. Little role reversal. Joe Burrow going on a road dog run. Steelers, of course, take down the Dolphins. Steelers, Bengals, AFC North in the conference championship, and the Bengals take down Kenny Pickett. Joe Burr back in the Super Bowl, probably going to be looking fresh after winning the AFC championship. Sean, let's should we do my AFC first? Yeah. All right, let's go. 1 seed Baltimore Ravens. Fuck it. Lamar, Todd Monken, I'm all in. Zay Flowers, Odell, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrew, and the boys. They get the bye. 2 seed coming out of the West, the Kansas City Chiefs, who will be taking on a wild card from their own division, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Poor Chargers.
Then we have the 3 seed Tennessee Titans, who win that division in spite of my love of the Texans being a little bit more reasonable and responsible with that prediction. They will be taking on a wild card from the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals, the 6 seed. Again, leaning into a little bit of a slow start for the Bengals. 4 seed Miami Dolphins. They win the AFC East, and they will be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, another wild card out of the North. So I have 3 playoff teams out of the North. No Buffalo Bills, no New York Jets. My comment, guess what? Josh Allen lost his brain. It's down in New Jersey. I know you're the only team that plays in New York, and I could give 2 fucking shits about it. Wow. Brian Dable, the brain, he's come down. He's now operating Daniel Jones. Good luck with your wasted ass Josh Allen. Maybe I should say busted ass Josh Allen. I do like him in fantasy style. That was a little too mean. All right. Steelers, they upset the Dolphins in Miami, advance to take on the Ravens in the second round. What a classic matchup that would be. Bengals advance over the Titans to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who discarded the Chargers. So I have some spicy matchups too.
Divisions.
I got Patrick Mahomes taking care of Joe Burrow again.
Oh no!
That paternity test was a problem.
No,
that's going to come back. Then we have the Baltimore Ravens taking care of Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. Ravens, Chiefs. New team wearing purple in the Super Bowl.
No way.
Baltimore
The Ravens win multiple playoff games
in the Super Bowl, shocking the world, kind of. So you have the Bengals, I have the Ravens. Let's head over to the NFC. Sean, your NFC bracket. No surprise here. The Eagles winning the NFC East at 13-4, capturing the 1 seed. They will be taking on the winner. Well, I guess it's not really the winner, but the winner of the Minnesota Vikings, the wild card out of the North, and the winner of the South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Meanwhile, you have the pack. This is a great matchup. San Francisco 49ers, wild card out of the West, and the 6 seed taking on the Green Bay Packers, the winner of the North, and the 3 seed. Nice value on that division winner, Sean.
Thank you.
Rams take care of the West. Wow. Wowzers. Hopefully Cooper Kupp gets back quick. They're taking on the Seattle. They're taking on the Seattle Seahawks, the 7 seed. So Sean, 3 teams coming out of the West in the playoffs, 2 out of the North, advancing to take on the Eagles. The Minnesota Vikings upset the Bucks. I would imagine the Vikings might be favored there. The regression police will be back next offseason to talk about how the Vikings got lucky. Meanwhile, I said meanwhile too many times. San Francisco 49ers, they go down to the Green Bay Packers. Ooh, some love for those Packers, Sean, pun intended. And the Rams, Sean McVay, a coach you hate. He takes care of Pete Carroll. So we have Rams taking on the Packers, where the Packers get it done in Los Angeles. That will certainly be a home game for the green and yellow, the Cheeseheads. And then you have the Eagles and the Vikings, some real historical matchups there. Who can forget that Tuesday night game? I believe it was
Joe Webb, that bastard.
The Joe Webb experience. Eagles get it done. Eagles Packers NFC Championship game at the Link. I think there might be a mistake here, but Sean has the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go Birds!
So you left the Cowboys out. You left the Lions out.
Yep.
You left the Saints out.
Yep.
Care to comment? And you put the Niners in, a team you hate. Care to comment?
Yeah. Well, again, there's just the NFC isn't. There's some not as good teams are going to get into the playoffs in the NFC, I think. And but yeah, I'm looking to fade Detroit. I don't think. Again, some of the fade on New Orleans is just the price. Like, I just don't think they should be walking away with the division there. I like the odds of Tampa Bay so much more. So I thought it's a little spicy to get them going in at 8 and 9.
All right. And the last section for me. So you have Eagles, Bengals.
Yes. YouTube.com/sportsgaming podcast. If you want to see the full grid, or the Patreon sheets, check those out. It's got all the picks.
It is pretty. There's colors. We got all sorts of grids, legends, everything you love. Conditional formatting, references to other sheets, concatenation. I can go all day, baby.
Fans have been asking, where can we get more conditional formatting, please?
Now, if you ever thought, was I going to look at a concatenated cell today? Yes, you are. So
if you thought Ryan was going to half-ass a spreadsheet, you
fuck
just
off.
Barking up the
just
wrong
fuck
tree.
off. All right, for me, I don't know how I did this, Sean, but confidently picked the Giants to win 12 games. Number 1 seed in the NFC. Holy shit! Sound the alarms.
Remember, people, I'm the homer.
You are the homer most years, but not this year. 2 seed Minnesota Vikings. Regression, please. Like I said, we'll be back for another offseason next year. The sequel will be better. The Vikings, they'll be taking on a wild card team from their own division, the Green Bay Packers, the 7 seed. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons coming out of the South, winning the division, taking on the Rams, wild card out of the West in the 6 seed. And then we have, did I break? The San Francisco 49ers don't make it. The Seattle Seahawks win that division as the 4 seed, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who make it as a wild card. Don't worry, I still think Jalen Hurts is good enough to make the playoffs. Even though these dogs haven't earned their stripes yet. Upset alert: Green Bay Packers take down the Vikings and head to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants in the divisional round. Falcons advance over the Rams because Arthur Smith's running game is going to be extra sick this year to take on the Eagles in the second round, who took down the Seahawks. This is a great matchup. Eagles coming to Atlanta, where the Eagles get it done on the road. That defense too much for Desmond Ridder. Meanwhile, the Giants, they take down the Packers. Jordan Love, the Cinderella story ends here, much like it did for Daniel Jones last year, but they can leave with optimism knowing they have their guy. Giants Eagles conference championship game. And even though the Giants split in the regular season, breaking the curse of just losing to the Eagles repeatedly, they get it done at home. Daniel Jones coming off an MVP season. They head to the Super Bowl for the Wink Martindale Bowl. Baltimore, New York. Let's crab cakes. Let's get some fucking pizza. Get a snack. Giants win, obviously. Eagles win for you. We went full home.
Oh,
Fuck
come
you.
on. That wasn't as you didn't deliver my prediction as strong.
You
The
should have
Philadelphia
taken control.
Eagles take down Joe Burrow, and Jalen Hurts gets his first Super Bowl championship for the city of brotherly love.
Help to not face. I mean, just not facing Mahomes gives them a better chance. Joe Burrow's kind of a bitch.
Joe Burrow, no, come on, Ryan. He's not a bitch. There's plenty of quarterbacks in the NFL you can call a bitch.
I'm starting to get annoyed by Joe Burrow's posture. He stands up too straight. I might have it. Yeah, it's a little annoying.
You were so in love with him to the point that
he is
on
awesome.
our clip, people are like, "Wow, you're really look up our Instagram and look up the Joe Burrow clip. The comments of Ryan,
he's good
about how much he liked Joe Burrow.
I just think
wow, you're really horny for Joe Burrow.
It's because at first I was like, oh, I like that swagger,
okay,
and now I'm like,
cold.
It's annoying. It's too much swagger.
NFL season is here. Let's go, baby. Countdown to kickoff is on, Ryan. We are almost there. Of course, a live week of shows from Las Vegas at the Blue Wire Studio, youtube.com/sportsgamingpodcast. So you can turn the notifications on because our schedule will be we will be operating on Vegas time. So not
what does that mean?
Start times, stop times, a little fluid. We don't want to be completely locked in. So turn on the notifications so you don't miss when we're going live. We're going to do a full NFL shows out there, including college football picks week 2. We'll be getting to, and then we have our last best ball draft Sunday night, tentatively scheduled as well. Again, turn the notifications on if you want to get in the chat, which I recommend. It is it's super fun in the chat, and then the Patreon. Appreciate all the support, people coming in left and right, getting a lot of good feedback on the bonus episode, the sheets, the bonuses in the contest. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
I'm so happy for football.
Kramer, let it ride.